Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We've gone back to this format because it feels more personal. Talking to this camera now almost feels like a friend in a weird way. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be making ramen, and we're going to upgrade a few little areas of the ramen from the previous video. We're going to be getting help from a specific cookbook, this one in particular. And this book is essentially a great guide on toppings, noodles, everything. So throughout this series of upgrading our ramen, this is going to be a helpful guidebook. I'll leave a link to it down below. It doesn't just contain ramen, it contains other types of noodle dishes, so if you love all things noodle, then make sure to get this book. And let's get started, shall we? In the top left with the red top is something called tobanjan. That's completely optional, but I'm using it as it gives a nice extra depth of flavour. Now we're going to prep our ingredients. First, cut some tomatoes in half. We're going to roast them at 180 degrees for about an hour or so. Also, make sure to season the tomatoes with salt as they go into the oven. Now we're going to be preparing our soy sauce marinated egg. Just as in the previous episode, we're going to boil these eggs for 6.5 minutes and place them in a bowl full of cold water to cool, so they stop the cooking process within the egg. Once we've gently peeled the shell off the egg, we're going to place them in a ziploc bag alongside 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and 2 tablespoons of water. Make sure to tighten the bag so the egg is fully submerged within the liquid. I did this the day before, so the egg marinates overnight, but you can prepare this a couple hours before. Now for our other toppings, we're going to slice some bok choy. Make sure to cut the end off and thoroughly wash that, as there might be some dirt within the bok choy, and we're only going to use a couple leaves of that, so slice that in half just for ease, as we did in the previous episode. And we're going to slice some spring onion, as we did with the bok choy, slice the end off and then cut the spring onions into thirds, and we're going to use the middle green bit. Cut the part we're using now lengthways, and then we are going to thinly slice them into strands and then place them in cold water, which takes the sting out of the spring onion, so it's not as harsh as it would be when biting into a regular spring onion. Then in a small bowl, grate a knob of ginger which is peeled with a spoon, along with the rest of the spring onion that we saved, and 1 clove of grated garlic. And now we're going to start the frying process. So grab about 100 grams of the pork mince, and then once it starts to brown, then we can add in our garlic, ginger and spring onion mix. Fry that off for a couple minutes, and then we're going to add our optional tobanjan, which just gives a nice extra layer of flavour. But if you don't have tobanjan, just add in a teaspoon of soy sauce and a teaspoon of sesame oil as well, because that will also give a really nice flavour. Once it's all nicely coated and cooked, we can set aside, and then we're going to fry off our bok choy for a couple of minutes like we did last episode in a teaspoon of soy sauce, but we still want to keep that crunch. And then grab a handful of bean sprouts, season with salt and a teaspoon of white pepper, and lightly fry for a couple of minutes. Make sure they don't go soggy, and we want to keep their crunch. And now for our soup. We're going to be using miso paste. Grab 1 heaped teaspoon of that into a bowl alongside the seasoning packet that we get from the instant noodles and a teaspoon of soy sauce. Mix until that's nicely combined and then set aside. Then we're going to grab 1 of the eggs. As you can see here, it's nicely browned and it's taken on the colour of the soy sauce, but it's not too harsh. And now all that's left to do is to cook the ramen. Once it's cooked for a couple minutes and it's ready to go, and then we're going to plate up. Grab all the ingredients that you're going to use and nicely line them up. So first we're going to grab the water that we cooked our noodles in and spoon in a couple ladles to mix with the miso paste. We're going to use some chopsticks, but you can use a fork or a spoon, and we're going to mix until the miso paste and the water has combined. Once that's combined, then add in a couple more ladles, and then we're going to add in our noodles. Once the noodles have been added, we're going to get creative with our toppings. First we're adding some bok choy, then some bean sprouts, our roasted tomato from earlier. Then we're going to add in our fried pork. Carefully place the egg into the bowl as it's a soft boiled egg. So top with the spring onions that you used, add the other seasoning packet that you got from the instant noodles, which was the chili oil, seasoned with salt and white pepper. Sprinkle that over, and then we just added some seaweed that we had lying about. That is also completely optional. And then voila! Right, itadakimasu. I mean, even with instant ramen and adding that miso paste, it works wonders. The great thing about ramen is that it's just so warming, you know what I mean? The toppings are great as well. You can hear the crunch on the bean sprouts. I think this is, in terms of flavor, this is definitely a step up from the previous ramen we made, but it's not too much of a step up where you're struggling to make it. I think it's just about the right level of challenge, so you're in a good state of flow when you make this. Let's check out the egg then. Let's see if it's as runny as last time. Oh my god, it just burst. I'll try and pick it up. God, no. No! Yeah, look, you can see it's still runny in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. But I've had those soy sauce eggs as a kid, and they never get old. If you like the video and if you like the ramen, please hit that like button. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And I'll see you soon.